The announcement of Brad Pitt's engagement to Ines de Ramon has ushered in a wave of emotional reflection for fans and industry insiders alike, many of whom have followed Pitt's long and winding road to personal stability and emotional peace. For a man once dubbed the quintessential leading man of Hollywood, the decision to propose now, after everything he has endured and evolved through, speaks volumes about his inner journey. This proposal is not just a romantic gesture, it's a declaration of a new era in his life. Those close to Brad suggest that this was not an impulsive move, but rather one he contemplated deeply, with consideration and emotional maturity, signaling a readiness to embrace a lifelong partnership from a place of wholeness rather than longing. Ines de Ramon, with her grounded presence and quiet strength, has been described by friends of the couple as a stabilizing force, someone who has helped Brad reclaim a sense of trust, balance, and simplicity in his day-to-day existence. Their relationship developed in the shadows of the spotlight, a stark contrast to the media storms that surrounded his previous marriages. Observers note that this deliberate low profile allowed the pair to build a foundation free from the performative pressures of celebrity culture. They would often be seen together in quiet cafes, art galleries, or simply taking walks away from the cameras, opting for experiences that fostered genuine connection rather than attention. Their shared values, especially a mutual appreciation for privacy, creativity, and personal growth, seem to have formed the bedrock of their bond. Ines, who has built a successful career in the jewelry world on her own terms, is not a woman who seeks validation through fame. Instead, she is seen as someone who values substance and sincerity, which aligns perfectly with the more introspective Brad that has emerged over the last few years. Reports suggest that Brad involved Ines's close friends and family in the planning of the proposal, seeking not grandiosity but intimacy. A source close to the couple shared that Brad crafted the moment to reflect the quiet strength of their relationship. The ring, reportedly a custom design featuring a rare, ethically sourced gem, is believed to be a collaborative piece created with a designer friend of Ines's, adding an even more personal touch. There was no media coverage, no leaked photos, just a private expression of love that reflected who they are as a couple. The gesture was as much about honoring Ines's values as it was about commemorating their shared journey. Those familiar with the couple say it was important to both of them that the engagement be a reflection of their growth, their connection, and the trust they've built through the quiet, unglamorous moments of everyday life. As news of the engagement spreads, there is a palpable sense of joy among Brad's inner circle, many of whom have watched him navigate some of the darkest periods of his life with a quiet resolve. Friends note that Ines came into his life not as a rescue, but as an equal, someone who matched his energy and respected his process. For Brad, who has spent the last several years reevaluating his priorities, focusing on sobriety, healing familial relationships, and exploring his creative outlets beyond acting, this relationship represents not just love, but peace. It is a testament to the idea that healing is possible, that love can reemerge from the ashes of past pain, and that even in a town as chaotic as Hollywood, something real can quietly take root and flourish. Brad Pitt's engagement to Ines de Ramon resonates on a deeper level because it marks the culmination of years of emotional growth, personal reflection, and a conscious departure from the patterns that once defined his relationships. His highly publicized romances with Jennifer Aniston and Angelina Jolie weren't just tabloid fodder, they became part of the cultural fabric of early 2000s Hollywood. With Jennifer, Brad embodied the quintessential leading man in love with America's sweetheart, and their breakup was mourned like a national heartbreak. His subsequent relationship with Angelina, intense and sweeping in scale, played out like a cinematic epic, full of passion, children, humanitarian missions, and ultimately, turbulence. Their split not only shattered the illusion of a perfect partnership, but also exposed Brad to painful public scrutiny and legal entanglements that tested his resilience. Emerging from that emotional wreckage, Brad's priorities began to shift. Therapy, sobriety, and a more reclusive lifestyle became part of his healing process. No longer drawn to the glare of the red carpet or the expectations of stardom, he began to seek fulfillment through quieter avenues, sculpting, architecture, and maintaining close bonds with a small, trusted circle. It was within this more introspective chapter that he met Ines de Ramon, a woman who never tried to change or compete with his fame, but instead complemented his evolving sense of self. Those who know them describe her as a gentle presence, curious about the world, fiercely independent, and emotionally intelligent in ways that help Brad stay grounded in the present moment. The decision to propose wasn't made in haste or romantic idealism. It was deliberate, heartfelt, and rooted in stability. Aware of the immense impact his choices have on his children, Brad reportedly had open conversations with them about his relationship with Ines long before proposing. His bond with Maddox, Pax, Zahara, Shiloh, Knox, and Vivian has been hard-earned, built over years of navigating custody battles, emotional distance, and the natural challenges that come with adolescence. He has expressed deep remorse over past missteps and worked to become more present, more communicative, and more attuned to their individual needs. Insiders suggest that his children's acceptance of Ines was a crucial factor in his decision to propose, and that she, too, approached the dynamic with grace and patience, understanding the sensitivity involved. This engagement, then, is more than a romantic milestone. It's a carefully considered step toward building a future that honors Brad's past, while embracing the quiet joys of a love that isn't performative, but authentic. Ines, for her part, is believed to have accepted the proposal with the same depth and thoughtfulness that defines her character. Their love story may not be filled with the cinematic drama of his earlier relationships, but it's rich with something more enduring: trust, respect, and the shared understanding of two people who have found in each other a sense of peace. 4. Ines de Ramon. The engagement signifies not only a romantic commitment, but a profound personal transition into a life that, while still touched by fame due to her association with Brad Pitt, remains rooted in her core principles. She has never courted the public eye, even during her marriage to actor Paul Wesley, choosing instead to let her professional accomplishments and close personal relationships define her. Those close to her note that she navigates attention, not by resisting it with hostility or embracing it with vanity, but by simply remaining herself, grounded, composed, and remarkably self-assured. This quality is precisely what has made her so compatible with Brad, especially given the whirlwind of his past experiences. She has not tried to control the narrative or use the relationship as a stepping stone for personal visibility. Instead, her ability to retain autonomy and authenticity in the face of immense public curiosity has only deepened the mutual respect within their relationship. The public reaction to the engagement has been one of rare and genuine enthusiasm. In a landscape where celebrity news often elicits polarized responses, the widespread support for Brad and Ines feels like a collective acknowledgement of the emotional labor it takes to arrive at such a hopeful juncture. Brad, after years of being scrutinized for his failed relationships and personal struggles, is now being viewed through a lens of redemption. The narrative has shifted from that of a fallen heartthrob to a man who has put in the work, privately and persistently, to become someone more whole, more emotionally attuned, and more deserving of lasting love. This shift is not lost on his fans or his peers in Hollywood, many of whom see this engagement as evidence that personal reinvention is possible even after decades in the spotlight. As for what comes next, speculation abounds. Given Brad's affinity for design, art, and architecture, some wonder whether the couple might exchange vows in a setting that reflects their aesthetic sensibilities: a countryside estate, a restored historic property, or an artistically curated, intimate venue that mirrors the understated elegance of their life together. There's little doubt that, regardless of the details, their wedding will be defined by intentionality rather than spectacle. For them, the celebration won't be about headlines or optics, but about honoring the path they've walked together and the values that have sustained them. On a broader scale, the engagement has taken on a symbolic resonance. It represents a quiet revolution in the way high-profile relationships can evolve. Brad and Ines offer a counter-narrative to the fleeting, performative unions so often seen. In celebrity culture, theirs is a story not of dramatic gestures, but of meaningful choices made away from the noise, a reminder that love, when rooted in mutual growth and quiet understanding, can not only survive, but thrive. For Brad Pitt, this proposal is more than a next step. It is a reclamation of his personal narrative, defined now not by scandal or sorrow, but by healing, authenticity, and enduring love. This newest chapter in Brad Pitt's life reframes his legacy in a way that feels deeply authentic, even redemptive. For decades, he was defined by his heartthrob status, his high-profile relationships, and the allure of his on-screen personas. But beneath the surface, Brad's personal reality has been far more textured, a mosaic of immense talent, personal demons, and a struggle to reconcile public expectation with private truth. The man who once graced countless magazine covers and walked red carpets with effortless charm has over time peeled back the layers to reveal someone more vulnerable and self-aware. He has openly acknowledged his battles with alcohol, the pain of divorce, and the process of learning how to be a better father and partner. These admissions, made not for publicity but out of a genuine desire to grow, have slowly shifted the narrative from one of superficial celebrity to one of meaningful transformation. Ines de Ramon's presence in his life has only amplified this evolution. She's not only stood by him but walked beside him on a journey that prioritizes authenticity over artifice. Those close to the couple describe her as someone who doesn't try to fix or mold Brad, but rather supports him as he continues to work on himself. She brings with her a quiet intelligence and grace that complement Brad's more introspective demeanor. Together, they exude a harmony that speaks not of fairy tale illusions, but of mature, enduring partnership. It's a love story grounded in reality, built not on fleeting passion, but on trust, patience, and shared intention. As Brad Pitt and Ines de Ramon embark on this new chapter of their lives together, there's an undeniable sense that what they've cultivated transcends the traditional expectations of celebrity romance. Their engagement is not the kind of headline-grabbing event driven by spectacle or strategic timing. It's something more intimate, more rooted in truth. The path that led them to each other wasn't one paved by fairy tales or overnight infatuation, but rather a journey defined by self-reflection, emotional growth, and the slow, deliberate unfolding of genuine companionship. In many ways, it feels like the culmination of years of inner work, heartache, resilience, and finally, the readiness to embrace something lasting. Brad Pitt's life, perhaps more than most actors of his generation, has been an open book to the public. Audiences watched him rise from breakout roles in the early 90s to become a global symbol of charisma and masculinity. Alongside the fame came an ever-present glare, dissecting his relationships, analyzing his missteps, and amplifying the most painful moments of his personal life. From his divorce from Jennifer Aniston to the complex, often painful fallout from his marriage to Angelina Jolie, Pitt's emotional landscape has been on full display. But what many failed to see, or chose to ignore, was the man behind the persona. The man who grappled with the weight of addiction, the challenge of fatherhood under scrutiny, and the quiet desperation that sometimes accompanies success without peace. It is precisely because of this long and difficult road that his relationship with Ines feels so profoundly meaningful. Ines, who carries her own history of love and loss, has never been swept up in the spotlight for its own sake. She operates from a place of intention and inner calm, choosing to engage with the world on her own terms. Her ability to remain centered, despite the intense public interest surrounding her relationship with Brad, has set her apart, not just as a celebrity partner, but as an individual who knows who she is. That kind of self-assuredness is not only admirable but essential for sustaining a relationship that exists under the microscope of global attention. Together, Brad and Ines represent what it looks like when two people come together not to fill a void, but to share in the strength they've each discovered within themselves. Their story isn't one of rescue or reinvention through another person, but of two whole individuals choosing to walk forward side by side. In a culture so obsessed with speed, quick fame, quick love, quick endings, their deliberate and mindful approach to their relationship feels almost radical. They've taken the time to understand each other, to build trust, and to heal the wounds of their respective pasts before committing to a future. For those who have watched Brad Pitt's journey unfold over decades, this engagement to Ines de Ramon offers more than just another romantic headline. It represents a culmination of hard-won wisdom and emotional maturity. Brad's life has often read like a Hollywood script in itself, full of meteoric rises, spectacular romances, crushing disappointments, and profound transformation. Yet what's most remarkable about this latest chapter is not the celebrity status of the people involved, but the deeply human story it tells. This isn't the kind of engagement that comes out of youthful passion or fleeting chemistry. It's one that reflects time, care, and the kind of deep emotional work that so often goes unseen. The symbolism embedded in this union is powerful. Brad has been one of the most recognizable faces in the world for decades, but fame didn't shield him from the struggles that so many face in private. His divorce from Angelina Jolie was not just a public spectacle, it was a personal crucible, marked by legal complications, emotional upheaval, and the immense challenge of co-parenting under the glare of intense scrutiny. The emotional toll of that period left scars, by his own admission, and sparked a serious reckoning within him. In interviews over the years, Brad has spoken candidly about his battle with alcohol, the journey into therapy, and the introspection required to break old patterns. He wasn't just healing from heartbreak, he was rebuilding himself from the inside out. And it is precisely because of that growth that his connection with Ines feels so profound. It's not just a case of finding someone new, it's about becoming someone new and then finding a partner who matches the person you've become. Ines, who maintains her own quiet strength, is not drawn to the glitz or the attention. She has chosen to walk beside Brad, not behind him, and in doing so she has become a safe haven for a man who has long been navigating the emotional turbulence that often accompanies fame. Her refusal to engage with the superficial elements of Hollywood life speaks volumes about her priorities. She values authenticity over appearances, substance over show, and connection over convenience. For many fans, this kind of relationship, mature, grounded, deliberate, offers a refreshing counter-narrative to the often fleeting, performative nature of celebrity love stories. It shows that it's never too late to begin again, never too late to find someone who truly understands you. It also underscores the idea that love, when built on honesty and mutual respect, can be transformative in the most enduring ways. This engagement isn't just a next step. It's a milestone that marks how far both Brad and Ines have come, not just toward each other, but toward a place of mutual peace and belonging. This moment between Brad Pitt and Ines de Ramon feels like a gentle exhale after years of holding one's breath. It speaks to the quiet strength that love can carry when it is not fueled by spectacle or shaped by public expectation. For a man who has been thrust into the spotlight for much of his life, this engagement is a deeply personal act of reclaiming intimacy. It is not about grand gestures or media declarations, but about two people finding solace in each other's presence, far away from the noise. There is something profoundly beautiful in that kind of simplicity, a beauty that doesn't demand validation, only understanding. Brad and Ines have built a bond that reflects maturity and shared healing. Their relationship is a testament to the idea that enduring love is less about passion that burns bright and fast, and more about a quiet flame that refuses to be extinguished, even in the winds of adversity. It's about finding someone who doesn't try to change your story, but who stands beside you as you write new chapters. For Brad, whose previous relationships have been framed by intense public scrutiny and emotional turbulence, this newfound peace with Ines feels redemptive. It suggests that even when life has weathered you, love still finds a way to arrive, gentle, sincere, and without demands. Their engagement tells us that love, at its best, is not always loud. Sometimes it's in the way two people understand each other in silence, or how they protect the space they've created together. It is not about the grandeur of a public image, but the authenticity of a private connection. And as their story unfolds, it becomes clear that the most meaningful beginnings don't always come with fireworks. They often arrive softly, rooted in truth, and destined to endure.